Hello, welcome back to another Stardust video, and today I am doing a rank tier list of the different Star Wars Tier 5 capital ships. Some people might be wondering, it's been more than 2 months since I uploaded my last video back in December. I have been busy. I have been doing revision. I've also been catching up on all my coursework that I've fallen behind in, so I've been quite busy myself. But anyway, let's get into this video. The first ship I am tiering is the Compeller. Now, Compeller, what do we have about Compeller? Well, it doesn't have that good range, 40 kilometers, but most of its main primary guns can fire at the 40 kilometer range, and it does a lot of damage at 40 kilometer range. It's also very quick, but it's not very maneuverable. Has a decent amount of health comparing to other Star Wars capital ships, but it has the best damage per second in the game, which kind of puts it in quite high tier, and therefore it's going to S tier. The next one is the Titan. Now, either when you are playing the Predator, you either go for the Compeller or you go for the Titan, and Titan is the other option. Titan has the most health in the game, not the most damage per second in the game, it's very slow, but it's more maneuverable than the Compeller. However, it's very big and it's quite a big target. Although it does have missiles, meaning it can fire things at long range. But because of its slow speed and its lack of damage per second when you compare it to stuff like the Compeller, I'm going to have to put it down into A tier. Now the next one is it's an alright ship, but I wouldn't say it's the best. It's Resurgence, which some people like to call the mini Titan, because it's basically like a Titan but smaller, but it has a load more ion cannons. This thing, when it comes to eating away at health, not that well. When it comes to shield, however, it will literally eat shield like a fat kid eating a chocolate cake. It loves eating at shields on ships. But the problem with it is, well, it doesn't have a lot of health when you compare to other capital ships out there, but it doesn't have so little health that it's completely underscored by every other ship. But I definitely wouldn't say it's as good as Titan, but I'd say it is a pretty good ship if played correctly. So it is going into B tier. The next ship is an even cooler one. It's technically not a capital ship, it's technically a battleship, which is the Starhawk, but I'm just concluding it as in my tier 5 capital ships. Starhawk, well, very quick, it's kind of maneuverable, it has quite long range compared to other Star Wars capital ships, and it has a big gold laser which can track any ship that tries to spin in front of you, which is quite overpowered because it means they can't get away from spinning over and over and over again. But its damage per second does lack, and therefore I'm going to have to put it into A tier. It does not compete with the S tier with the Compeller's damage per second, and it's basically just any other Star Wars capital ship. You charge forwards, basically. Or not really charge forwards, but you sit in the back, but it doesn't compare with the damage per second, so that's why it's going in A tier. Also, some keen eyes might recognize some of my thumbnails in here, because I could only find, these were the only images I could find of them that were part of Stardust. It's just amazing, isn't it? It just happens to be like that. I totally didn't just put that in purposely. The next ship is the Providence Mark II. Now, you have two ships. You have the Providence Mark II, and you have the Providence Mark II Invisible Hand. And the Invisible Hand is basically just has more broadside guns than the Mark II. Now, to sum up a Mark II, it's quite maneuverable, has decent point defense for its size comparison, decent maneuverability. Its firepower is so for that reason, I'm putting the Providence in C tier. Now to one up on that, I'm also going to put the Invisible Hand into B tier. Now, it's better than the Providence Mark II, but it does not match with a Titan or Starhawk because it simply does not do as much damage in the same amount of time. But it is better than the Mark II, so that way it's going into B tier. The next ship is the Viscount. Now, before some people go complaining and say, Deadly, how dare you put the Viscount in the tier you are about to put it in, just hear me out on this, alright? This ship is not a broadsider, not a brawler. Unlike you might think, people in the lore does not matter in Stardust, but kind of does, but not 100%. If you think that, then technically a Mac gun has infinite range, but we do not care, this is Stardust. Nothing is going to be accurate 100% to lore. Think of it like a battle carrier. This thing is a battle carrier, not a brawler, not a carrier itself, but a battle carrier. And it can be very, very overpowered if played correctly. It can counter other carriers because it has so many shields that it can just... I've been attacked multiple times by an Apocalypse, and it can't kill me. It'll kill me eventually, but by the time I've sent off my fighters and bombers at it, I've killed it before it's killed my shields, because my shields are overpowered, and it's very good at fighting over carriers, and it's actually quite good at fighting over capital ships, and therefore, I'm putting it into S tier. The next ship is technically not a capital ship, it's a defense platform. It's the Golem 3 defense platform. Now, it's alright as a way of summoning it up. Doesn't have the long range, but it's very good at stopping spawn campers because of its ungodly amount of small lasers. This thing has so many small lasers, it's ungodly, and it has a good amount of concussion missiles, meaning it can counter smaller ships that think they can spin around in the distance and you could fire missiles at them. So technically it does have long range, but its main guns don't have as much long range, and for that reason I'm going to have to put it into the B tier. The next ship is a very, very enjoyable ship. It's the MC-85. Now, before some people might say, the MC-85, alright, it's not a brawler, it's a support ship. It's a massive support ship. And if you're using it like a brawler, then you're obviously not playing it correctly. It does not have the firepower of even anything in the C tier, and its fighters are alright. It matches stuff, it has 1500 fighter health if you don't include the GR-75s. But what makes it different from other ships is the fact that it can heal. And its shields are just, from experimenting, are just slightly weaker than the Viscount's shields. Not that much, but it's a lot more maneuverable than the Viscount. And it is quicker, and it spawns in with a cloak, like the Titan spawns in with a cloak. And therefore, it can get to cover, if there is cover, very quickly, or it can make a complete U-turn and run away from the enemy fleet, and then come out of its cloak out of range of the enemy ships, which makes it very overpowered. And the fact that it can heal other capital ships also makes it very overpowered, and therefore it's going into the S tier. Now the last ship is the Liberator. I personally do not have the Liberator, so don't take my word for it. From what I can tell from it, it has decent range, an alright amount of health. Its maneuverability, like any other Imperial or Republic capital ship that looks like a Dorito, is probably not that good from what I can tell from people playing it. It has a nice little big laser on the front, but I personally don't have it. I can't rank it so high because I don't know if it's really overpowered, and I can't rank it too low because I don't know if it's overpowered, and therefore I'm just going to put it in a nice old A. But anyway, that is all the Star Wars ships of the tier 5s that I can think of. Hopefully I haven't forgotten one. That wouldn't be a very good thing. I hope you enjoyed this video. I had fun making it. It's a bit more fast-paced than my other videos, but that is because I am really busy right now and I need to be getting on with lots of stuff, but I need to make a video so I'm not going complete radio silence for the next even 2 months, or even 3 months. If I go out with not making a video for 3 months, you'd think I'm dead. But here we go. Video, woohoo! I'll see you in another month's time. Goodbye!